I think their intimate knowledge of how great movies are made. Frankly, I think that they're both master storytellers. They're both devoid of ego and put the story first. They have a great knowledge of actors and connections with actors. I think that they were demanding in the best possible way, in terms of the level at which with which we engaged with the story, and how we kept trying to push it forward to new heights and elevated it constantly. And in post-production also, just again, their ability to look at the material afresh and divorce themselves from what the intention was and respond to what we actually had was great. I think that, by the time you've made your way through 8 weeks of night shoots, everyone is extremely disorientated, and in a way that was, that was very positive. Even the physicality of the actors was impacted by that, and we were fortunate in that we shot the beginning of the movie at the start and the end at the end, and so there was a natural arc in terms of how their behaviors evolved after being battered by sleep deprivation and the elements for that number of exterior night shoots, but also just the way the fabric of the city kind of, it just creeps into all of the images in a really beautiful way, and the character of the city, and it authenticates the behavior of the actors in a very useful way. Chadwick was really the only person we thought about as we were developing this, and that was the kind of biggest get of the pre-production process, was landing him, because he, effectively that meant we had a movie. I think with him, what you get is he's a very singular man, and that was a prerequisite for such a singular character, that he has a level of, and had already demonstrated a level of intelligence and nobility both in the choices that he'd made and in the way that he delivered on those characters, and he also kind of has a very iconic aura, and we were kind of wanted to create a modern screen icon, so he seemed like the logical person to start with. Sienna I'd been aware of for a long time as, an actor in the UK before she moved to the US. I loved her in The Edge of Love, the John Mabry film, little known, and then she followed that up, with work like, Foxcatcher, American Sniper, American Woman, and you sort of understand that this is a character who or a woman who's got an enormous range, that she and also has a sort of intelligence and honesty that were really, really, really important to the story, in terms of how you discover things and when. Her behavior has a major bearing on the plot of the movie. So she needed to be able to both lead and misdirect at different times, and she definitely had the facility to do that. With Stephan, that was a really hard part to cast, because we had to understand, we see this man participate in a bloodbath at the start of the movie with Michael, and we have to understand that there's more to him than that, over the course of the story we discover that, like Chadwick, he's a guy who was sort of malformed by grief in his early years, and that he's basically been led into a situation, Ray protects him and loves him, but is also he's a time bomb, so he destroys everything around him. So you got to understand the humanity within this man in a very graphic way, and Stephan has that kind of incredible sensitivity, but also like he has I think somebody said of a young Brando that he had the body of a prize fighter and the face of a poet, and Stephan has that as well, and that's kind of what that character required. With Taylor, we needed somebody who was very compelling but also very dangerous. So, and the compelling bit was super important, because that charisma, so that we'd understand why Michael had allowed himself to be in the orbit of such a man. But like I say, he because he goes off like a hand grenade, he also had to have that facility with violence. And then you got J.K. Simmons, who is just a consummate dream actor who's got so much authority and rage. And with him, the two key things were that he would have a paternalistic warmth, but also a patriarchal rage that, that's kind of what drives him as a man, and what we discover as a major driver in the whole movie.